Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cinematic Schematic, the official podcast of thecinematropolis.com, your home to thoughtful conversations on film. I'm your host, Caleb Masters, and today we're joining a conversation that's been 65,030 years in the making. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we're running with the dinosaurs, or maybe riding a motorcycle with the dinosaurs. In our review of Jurassic World Dominion, we're going to start with an icebreaker question before jumping into a spoiler-free review and providing a verdict on the film, and then we'll conclude the show by going into an in-depth spoiler discussion. And this is actually, much like Jurassic World Dominion, somewhat of a reunion show. You know, Jurassic World Dominion, we get the old cast, the new cast. This one, coming in almost exactly ballpark of a year since we did our F9 review. I am so excited to be rejoined by the same cast of podcast hosts today.
I'm definitely Laura Dern, then. I just want to claim that now.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum, you guys can...
Level-headed.
You can do
Who wants
out.
to be Jeff Goldblum?
Well, I mean, I'd prefer it, but I mean, I'm not
showing more chest right now.
But Brock's going to show more chest, and I prefer that.
Of course, you've heard the voices. Rejoining me today, we have Jason Black from KJYO-FM, iHeartMedia, and also a member of the Critics' Choice Association and the Oklahoma Film Critics Circle. Jason, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You came back.
I've been waiting. I only do franchises with minimum 6 movies.
That's you know, the good news is you're in a great time to be alive if you want to do podcasts.
I am? Oh, well, that's a good point.
For a minimum of 6
Well, you're the
movies.
only one that invites me on, so yeah, I guess that's true.
Oh, it's always a blast, Jason. Welcome. I'm also super excited to be rejoined by the Brockness monster of graphic designers. You could, in this case, call him the Brockness T-Rex of graphic designers because it's, you know, on brand for the theme. Brock Lay, welcome back to the Cinematic Schematic.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Somebody had to be on here to defend this movie.
Sir, you are a very brave soul, I have to say. Last, but certainly not least, super excited to be rejoined by clearly the Laron Dern here, and also an award-winning Oklahoma filmmaker, Laron Chapman. Laron, welcome back to the show.
It's great to be back. Thanks for having me.
Firstly, it's great to be in studio with you guys in person. I just got done doing a ton of Dead Center interviews, mostly virtually because I had COVID at the time. So it's just nice to be interacting with real people again. Now, listeners, before we get to today's review, I just wanted to quickly note that if you're listening and you enjoyed the conversation we have, please support the show by subscribing on your preferred podcast app and leaving us a rating and a review, especially if you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We've got a lot of great shows coming out this summer. I mean, we've got Black Phone is coming up, I think, next week. We've got a Bullet Train coming out later this summer. You know, there's a lot of great stuff coming up. So subscribe and you'll have it sent directly to your listening device. All right, gentlemen, we're going to start, as we always do, with our icebreaker question. So today, our icebreaker question is, if you were to take a trip to Jurassic Park and you could put together a team of 5 people, either real or fictional, to go with you, who would you choose? And Laron Chapman, I'm starting with you, sir.
All right. I'm really proud of this list, okay?
Buckle up.
Laron did prep.
So the first, yeah, exactly.
Uh-oh.
So the first person I have is obviously Dom Toretto, because we need to get a getaway car.
Oh.
Bingo.
After seeing Top Gun Maverick, I feel like, you know, Tom Cruise really flies those planes really good.
You got to get off the island somehow.
So I have him as my number 2. And then I guess this is kind of a multiverse here because Ethan Hunt, I also want him. I want
Two Tom Cruises,
since apparently this new Jurassic Park is, you know, a knockoff Mission Impossible movie. We'll get into that later.
We will get into that.
I figured he'd be good for the espionage stuff, you know, for that.
All right.
I wanted a couple chicks there, so I have Ripley from Alien, and then I have Daenerys from Game of Thrones.
She comes with
She comes with the dragon.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Otherwise, I mean, yeah, she just talks a lot. So
Does she motivate the T-Rexes?
yeah, right,
okay.
exactly. Yeah, so
Laron Chapman, I mean, I think that's a pretty good. You got a getaway driver. Hashtag family. They all feel like they bond together. You got a scientist. Wait, is Ripley a scientist? Actually, no. Wait, she's a pilot. JK, but she's in space, so sciencey.
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
I think there's a pretty good likelihood about half of them make it out.
Half of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm one of those people.
Yeah, of course. All right. Well, Laron Chapman, thanks so much for your picks.
Yep.
Brock Lay, I'm turning it to you. Who would be your team of 5 people?
I'm going back to the original. I'm going Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, Joseph Mazzallo, and I have to look her up because I can't remember her name, Ariana Richards, who played Lex. The original 5, because nothing's better than the original, as this movie showed us. and they all made it off. So I feel good about those picks. Lex is older and wiser. Joseph Mazzalo is older and hopefully wiser. I don't know.
If it ain't broke.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I mean, it is a winning formula, that's for sure. And as Scream 4 taught us, you never don't fuck with the original. So
exactly.
You can't go wrong there. Okay. All right, Brock. I respect the choice. Jason Black. How about you?
Well, I didn't really realize everyone was going to do so much prep, so I feel pretty good about my list of. So Laron's list was Brock, yours was good too, but Laron's list was really good. So I was thinking that I was thinking kind of the same thing about Maverick, but I think I will, just to kind of steal off yours, Laron, just give me 5 different Tom Cruises, and then maybe Xenu will get us off the island with the other Scientologists, and then
if you get
hook up the T-Rex to an e-meter.
If you get Anderton from Minority Report, you get future vision, so you can determine when the dinos will eat the people beforehand.
Listen,
so it's pretty
just bring
powerful.
all the Tom Cruises, and you'll get out of this alive. You're good.
Jerry Maguire.
Listen,
You gotta she entertained the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So, distractions.
exactly.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. I actually 5 Tom Cruises. I'm
There you
into
go.
it.
The guy from Legend.
Yeah, man.
Interview with a Vampire. Anybody? Vampires immortal?
Lestat.
Come on.
Yeah. Can't die.
What I'm taking away from this is that we all want more Tom Cruise because my list, Laron, you and I were in the same wavelength. Now, I put them in a slight different order. I actually put Pete Maverick Mitchell as the pilot at the end, not my number 5. So I'll circle back and go through the rest. Cool. Because you got to have a getaway pilot. Otherwise, you're stranded on the island. And
The pterodactyls? Come on.
Exactly. He's going to fly around those guys. God. And we saw the stunts he did in Maverick. It was incredible. Yeah. So yes, Pete Maverick Mitchell. My number 1, you got to have a badass, like the guy who just shows up and screw shit up, fuck shit up, The Predator, of course.
Oh, wow.
Naturally, because he can cloak, sneak around, he likes to hunt. Yeah, exactly, right?
So wait, just the Predator.
Just the
Okay.
Just
pluck
the
him.
First one, yeah.
Because he's pretty good with working within a team, I think.
He's kind of the wild card. Okay.
Once he sees what else is out there, he's like, humans are small potatoes. Let's go for the big stuff.
Oh, good. A T-Rex has been skinned alive. Must be the Predator.
Hung upside down.
He was here. I guess we're doing pretty good.
Why is the pterodactyl covered in mud?
Oh, man. So The Predator, number 1. Number 2, I went with Stealth Spy, leaning into video games for this one. Solid Snake, because he crawls through air vents. He plants mines. You got to have a guy who can sneak around. And then when the T-Rex sees him, he just throws a box over his head. So he doesn't move. So, he's in good shape.
Perfect.
That's what he does. Getaway Driver, we're on the same page. Mine's a little less family-oriented, LeBron, though, because I went with Furiosa. Mad Max Fury Road.
Scratch that name out. That was for you, buddy. I went with Ripley instead. So
Oh, man, because you're going to love my next pick, because I actually also considered Ripley, but then I realized after looking her up, she wasn't actually a scientist. So what I went with was Dr. Grace Augustine, Sigourney Weaver from Avatar, who is in fact a scientist. You got to have a scientist, right?
Smart.
Got to control the chaos theory.
All right.
Now that you mentioned Predator, I'm adding Gary Busey. Any Gary Busey from any movie, or just Gary Busey himself.
Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, what team of 5 people would you take to Jurassic Park to ensure you survive? You can send us your responses to the cinematropolis@gmail.com for an opportunity to have your answers read on the show. All right, so one little bit of housekeeping I just wanted to talk about for a minute before we actually got to our spoiler-free review of Jurassic World Dominion. And that is, I just have to acknowledge you are correct. We did not do a show in May. May was a big month, and I hope I more than made it up to all of you with the 11 Dead Center Film Festival interviews I did from the beginning of June until this last week. So hopefully that helped make up for it. We did miss some good ones, though. We missed Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness, and we missed Top Gun Maverick. We didn't get to review that as well, and that was probably the best movie that we're going to get this summer, at least blockbuster-wise. So we missed some good ones, but here's the thing. There's a lot of great stuff happening in the world. I just wanted to take a minute to acknowledge this because I love the men around this table. We enjoy talking movies. And we also have some non-movie stuff that happens. So first up, Laron Chapman, you got married in May, correct? Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I got married in May. Went to Hawaii immediately after that. So I got to see the sets.
You went to Jurassic Park.
Oh, wow.
I went to Jurassic World, yeah.
Nice.
So I got to go to Kula Ranch and see all the locations for it. I saw where Journey 2 was shot with The Rock. So they kind of give you a little tour of every little space that any movie that ever been shot in that ranch.
What island is that?
Oahu.
Okay.
The north side.
I would have said New Bar, but I guess I would have been wrong.
Not Isla Sorna, not that one. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Site B.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
yeah, big life move. Yeah.
Get my Hawaiian
weird.
lines mixed up.
2022 is the year, I guess. Yeah.
It's the year. It's a big year. But any highlights from the honeymoon you want to shout out?
Oh man, great food, great people. Man, all the beaches. Like I said, I wanted to kind of just fake my own death and live the castaway life out there, and just live as a bougie hobo that eats mangoes out of trees. So, but it's a lot. It's really expensive though. So had to come back. So, but it was a blast.
Reality bites sometimes, you know. Yeah,
for sure.
As a big diehard Lost fan, when I saw that that's where you were going, I was like, man, I envy you. Some of your photos, I'm like, that's where that happened in the show, and it's great. That's super cool.
Well, I geeked out at all the locations more than people should. I'm like, I know that spot.
I've seen it in like 8 movies.
Exactly.
Oh man, that's incredible.
Exactly.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
But that has to behalf on me and everyone here at the Cinematropolis. Congratulations, you've been an invaluable part of the podcast over the years, and this is a big moment. And thank you for the invitation to the wedding. It was a beautiful wedding ceremony as well. Just want to give a shout out.
Thanks for coming.
And it was super awesome, and I'm super happy for you. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Broccoli, you also had some news that came down in May, right?
I did have some big news come down in May. Speaking of invites to Laron's wedding, much like his anticipated birthday party invite that I sat by my mailbox every day like a child waiting on his father to pick him up. It never came.
Even though you met him, like his party was literally like 2 days after you met him.
Yes. Regardless, we had a fantastic time on that podcast. And he laughed at
he knew better.
No. Yes, my news. So, no, congratulations on your wedding. Big teasing right there. I am going to have another child. As much as we make light of me having 5 kids, me and my wife decided to be surprised and not plan it at all and have one more. So very excited. So we'll have 6 kids.
Congratulations.
Coming up in December. Yes. Thank you. No, very excited.
You are halfway to the Cheaper by the Dozen spinoff.
As I told my wife, I was like, at this point, like, even if we have another, I don't think anybody's going to notice in our neighborhood. There's just going to be kids running around like, oh, okay. Like,
And how long have you guys been married? Like 7 years.
we've been married. We've been married 12 years.
Okay.
So yeah. We've had a lot of kids in a short amount of time.
You said it's going to be in December, though, right?
December,
It's
yes.
going to be a December baby.
And let me be the first person to invite you to the birth of my child so we can fight this stigma that you have created.
Exactly.
LeBron, you got that before I did, man. Come on.
Right, exactly. My mom's birthday is on Christmas, and so I'm just going to say to you, just for this child, make sure you give them a gift for both things,
Okay.
or they will go their whole life traumatized that everyone,
Laron.
they're going to be competing with Jesus, the holiday,
Other 5 kids.
other 5 kids.
December 28th, baby.
Oh,
That's my
man.
birthday.
I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
So I get it.
You get it.
Guess who else was
man.
born on December
I have a-
28th?
It must be
Denzel
rough.
Washington.
Oh yeah.
that's
My
pretty
daughter
cool,
was
though.
born on the 23rd of December, so
so she
I
gets
have a tiny bit of practice so far.
Okay, copy that.
So I will try to
yes.
manage that.
So if it's looking like December 23rd, you're just like, baby, hold it in.
It'll
One
be
more
the
day.
beginning of December. Luckily, it'll probably be November, so we will be clear of having to buy 2 children a birthday and Christmas gift.
Well, that just means you'll be out of it just in time to review Avatar 2, because
Yep.
apparently it's actually happening.
You know what? I think I'll pull out of that.
Pun intended.
Hang on. No pun intended. That just worked out that way.
Okay.
I'm not excited for Avatar.
No, it's okay.
that's fine.
That's how most people are. I'm excited. I probably am the only person I know who's actually excited for Avatar 2, even though I don't know. All right, so Jason, what news you got to throw down, man? I mean, competition here.
Nothing compared to these two guys and you, Caleb, which I know we're waiting on here. But nothing. I only have 2 kids, and I feel like we have stuff going on all the time. So I don't know what Brock's doing. That's it. I always tell people, I say, and Brock, maybe you can relate. When people go, "What have you guys been up to?" and I go, "I don't know, but it's been a lot." We do stuff all the time. I couldn't tell you what any of it is. But my kids do theater, so we see the shows. It's always a good time. And then I told you guys I'm working on I'm trying to make a movie, which has been an interesting experience. But
Ooh, very nice.
yeah, so we'll see.
Anything about the movie you want to share to listeners?
Oh, it's not a big deal. Yeah, my grandmother was a prisoner of war in World War II, and so they say go with what you know, and so she's got this amazing story, and so she's 97. I put a camera in front of her and ask questions, and the stories are pretty amazing. So I'm trying to put that together into something that makes sense and something that's, that I feel I can make worthy of her and her story. So
That's incredible.
yeah,
Awesome. Yeah.
I think you're going to do an amazing job.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Congrats. That's awesome.
Either way, get the audio. Like have her tell it at least one time in full.
Yeah. You're right.
And then
Just to have it.
just to have it.
Just to have
for
it.
Sure.
Yep.
Because
Yep. No, you're exactly right.
I'm excited to see more of this movie. You showed us a little thing you've been working on beforehand that I won't share with listeners. But anyway, I think it's super cool. And the fact that you'd sort of pay homage to your family history, and that's really unique, powerful history there. So
It's a cool story too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean there aren't many left. I mean World War II,
Yeah.
POW, and also with her, she's a female. It's the Pacific side, and we just don't hear that. It's all mostly European, and the female you hear about on Anne Frank, but
yeah.
so I'm trying to tell a female story, and just trying to, like I said, do it justice.
That's awesome. I can't wait to hear more about it as it develops. Okay, so I'll just throw it out there. I got engaged in May as well. I just wanted to throw that out there because I was like thinking about. I was like, why didn't we do a podcast in May? At one point, I even tried to do a men podcast on the weekend of my engagement party, and I was like, what the hell was I thinking? No, I'm not gonna. That's not possible. Laron got married. Brock's having kid number 6. Guys, I don't know what it is. May is just a big month.
Yeah.
And most importantly, I saw Top Gun Maverick in the Dolby. Oh, most importantly.
Yes.
Most importantly,
Yeah.
I do recommend a podcast the morning after your bachelor party.
Yeah. I'll host.
Guys, podcast is going to be a part of the bachelor party.
Okay.
LaRon wants to host, though.
In real time.
I'm writing it down right now. You're on the list. But no, super excited. I proposed to my girlfriend, Lauren, of almost 4 years. I was actually thinking about doing it on our 4th anniversary, but then I wanted it to be a surprise. And literally every woman, there was like 2 women I talked to,
boy,
who
be
were related,
careful.
and they're like, Caleb, why would you? they were
Every woman.
I know it was like 2. So it's like my sister and a couple other people I was asking, and they were like, "Yeah, if you want to surprise her, maybe don't do it on like a important date." So I literally just said, "Well, I want to do it before June because Dead Center and June's always just crazy. Not even just Dead Center. There's all sorts of stuff in June." So I was like, "Okay, well, I don't want to do it over Memorial Day either because no one's going to come to the party because there's a surprise party aspect to it." So I was like, "All right, the weekend before." Which was May 21st. So anyway, super big news. Guys, I'm just happy. Life's going great for everybody. It's great. It's good news. And I'm happy that we're all able to experience it together, these chapters together.
Absolutely. 2 years ago, we would have been like, everything's shit. And now this.
Yeah, exactly.
Here we are.
You know what?
Exactly.
Everything isn't really great now either, but we're making the most of it.
We're looking at the positives. That's true.
These are the 4 silver linings, guys.
Yes, right.
That's right. All right, listeners. Well, I think with all that said, I just wanted to take a moment. We don't talk about personal stuff as much on this show usually, but I think it's exciting, and we should talk more about it. All that said, though, let's go ahead and jump into our review of Jurassic World: Dominion.
I wanted to show them something that wasn't an illusion. Something that was real. Something that they could see and touch. Creation is an act of sheer will. Life will find a way.
We can't keep her here forever.
If they find her, we're never going to see her again. We got to protect her. That's our job.
Humans and dinosaurs can't coexist. We created an ecological disaster.
Ellie Sattler.
Alan Grant.
You didn't come out all this way just to catch up now, did you?
You coming or what?
So according to IMDb, Jurassic World: Dominion is described as 4 years after the destruction of Isla Nublar, Isla Nublar. I don't know. Dinosaurs now live and hunt alongside humans all over the world. This fragile balance will reshape the future and determine once and for all whether human beings are to remain the apex predators on a planet they now share with history's most fearsome creatures in a new era. Laron Chapman shaking his head so hard right now, and you want to know why? I think you are on the same page. It's because that's not what this movie's about.
Not at all.
It's not what this movie's about.
They lied to me.
It's not.
And all the marketing. So, with that said, we're going to go around the table. Jason, I'm going to start with you, and then we'll go to Laron, and then Brock. Brock, I want you to bring us up after we come down, and then I will tear you down after that. So
It is going to be a revelation.
so Jason, tell us, what did you think of Jurassic World? What did you like? What didn't you like?
Well, people that know me know that I like shorter movies. This one clocks in, I think, at 2:39. Is that right?
Sir,
Something like that?
Correct.
So that is way over what I prefer. However, I will say I was never bored. You know, I mean, it's way too long, but I there was never a point where I was like, oh boy, let's get on with it. But this movie was very stupid. And I would not want to watch it again. But like I said, I was entertained, but it's just so dumb. There's so many unnecessary things. I know we're going to get into the return of the original cast. I don't know if that was necessary. I don't know if bugs were necessary. But otherwise, it was fine.
Hey, I'm seriously though. You've already started us on a more positive note than I expected because you were at least entertained throughout. So that's a win. In my book, that is a win.
I did not feel like it was 2.5 hours long. I will say that.
I am so glad you're right. I felt like it was 8 hours long, but but you know that's okay. We're going to go to Laron Chapman. What did you think of the film?
Listen, I try to find the positive in every movie I see, even if it's terrible. So I'm going to tell you the good things. Laura Dern had really nice hair.
She did.
It was really well conditioned.
What is it? And it was matched Sam Neill. He had a very good beard.
Agreed. Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. Jeff Goldblum wore really nice suits.
Yep. That leather jacket, man. No one wears it like him.
And Sam Neill read all of his lines without messing up once. So,
well, his accent did slip a few times.
I did notice the accent slipping. Yes,
it did.
That is where the compliments for me end with this one. So, and I didn't feel like it was 2.5 hours, but I definitely had moments of like, let's get to the dinosaurs. So, and so for me, it dragged in the beginning for sure.
Yeah,
at least.
Yep.
But.
Now, eventually, you do plan to have dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour, right? Hello? Hello? Yes?
With that said, Brock Lade, bring us the positive news here.
First of all, don't call it a comeback. It's been here for 30 years. The Dilophosaurus returns.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Every movie.
Dilophosaurus was great in this movie.
Since the first one, and it finally came back. So it has been twice this year. So this has been a fantastic year on top of my sixth child. But most importantly, the Dilophosaurus is back and Kirby is back in Scream. So I got two comebacks in 1 year that make me happy.
So should we pause the summer of Morbius or the year of Morbius and say that the summer of Dilophosaurus?
Yes.
Okay, I'm good with that.
And I even dug the scene. There was a little suspense to it. I liked the movie because most importantly, my kids liked it. I took my children, I took off work, and I took my kids because they were dying to see it. They like Jurassic Park. I actually was able to potty train my oldest child by threatening to take away Jurassic Park. One time I said, you will never watch it again. He literally from that day has never peed or pooped in his pants again.
Wow.
The power of Jurassic Park. During the movie, I found myself watching my kids more than the movie. Mm-hmm. And they're like, suspense and like having their hands over their ears or their face. Like them experiencing the movie was me watching them more than the movie. And that's what made it for me. I don't know, just like that childlike wonder of like loving dinosaurs and watching something and that like hitting you and like giving you like that Jurassic Park. That's why I'm a graphic designer. Honestly, it's the movie, it's the book. And so for them, I'm hoping that like, yes, is it a good movie? No, it's terrible. But my experience that I had with it was wonderful.
That's fair.
That's great.
And so there are plot holes. The bad guy is weak, but watching my kids, And y'all can
I
kind of see
will say
like,
the crowd behind me, it was a dad and his daughter.
Yeah.
They were having a blast the whole time.
Yes.
And I will say that did bring me some joy to see that, I was like, I'm glad someone enjoys this movie. I don't, but someone's enjoying it.
And that's why it's really hard. That's why I'm like, yes, like, is it a good movie? No, but like the joy I got from taking my kids to see their first Jurassic Park in the theater is like hopefully like what my parents had from me when they took me to the drive-in to see the original Jurassic Park. I like lost my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so like seeing it on the big screen with the loud noises and just all of it, like I could tell it really had an effect on them in a good way. What didn't have a good effect on them was the Beast trailer with Idris Elba.
That was in front of you?
That was in front
gosh,
of me.
wow.
Terrified my kids. Pilot, my son, looked at me. He goes, I don't want to see that one. So, agreed. So everybody's warranted, but my experience was different from others just because of the joy it brought my kids.
I really appreciate you sharing that, though. I think that's really powerful because I don't have children, and it's easy to get tunnel vision and focus just on the movie side of it. But the fact that you're able to remember, hey, I loved going to the drive-in to see Jurassic Park when I was a kid, and I can now share that experience with my kids, that's pretty cool. That's pretty powerful. And I'm glad that at least they were able to provide you that experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and I mean, they're 7 and 6, so they're still like, they're at that like ripe age where like something like this is like right up their alley to be scary, to be exciting, to be like a wondrous occasion of like, these are huge dinosaurs on the big screen, finally getting that experience.
It is fun to do that because we've seen everything.
Yeah.
So, and that's, remember when Jurassic Park came out,
Yeah.
how we hadn't seen everything? We've seen everything. So it is cool when you get to see your kids see it because in a way, they haven't seen what we're just so jaded by. Like I took my son to see Mission Impossible Fallout, and we had to get up and leave the theater during the helicopter scene. He was so nervous. He didn't understand.
Wow.
He really thought like
Yeah.
he thought Tom Cruise was, got to go visit Xenu. So seeing him, seeing the way that they react is a lot of fun. So I know what you mean by that.
So what you're saying is me and Caleb need to have children.
Exactly. And you will enjoy more movies.
Such jaded.
we'll be less jaded, yeah.
Get a child and get a
Two
lawnmower.
things. I watched Mission Impossible Fallout while on an airplane with the helicopter
Oh my
scene.
gosh.
Talk about like having anxiety out just the wazoo.
First off, you watched Fallout on an airplane. Christopher Nolan / Chris McQuarrie just stopped dead in his tracks. Okay, both of them, both Chris's.
It didn't have motion smoothing on though, so Macquarie was okay with it.
I have too many kids, so I have to watch them when I can, wherever I can. And usually it's whenever I'm by myself.
That's fair.
So the second thing doesn't matter.
Right. Well, I just want to say, Brock, though, I appreciate that because we probably need some of that at this table because I'm about to rain down. Like I haven't rained down on him.
Before you do, during the movie, my son leans over, 7 years old. I didn't do anything. I was just sitting there sipping my beer, and he goes, "I love you," and I was like, "Oh, Jurassic World Dominion's the best movie ever." I swear,
this story really happened.
This really happened because I took him to see Jurassic World.
Wow,
too wholesome.
That's how much he liked it. So Caleb, rip that away from me.
I will never. Listen, I just want to. I'm just going to preface this, and I actually thought about this, Brock, because I didn't know for a fact that you liked this movie, but I thought you might.
I love the experience of the movie.
I appreciate that because one of the preferences I was going to have before I laid out any of this stuff was, Brock, I don't want to take away anything that you liked about this movie or that you enjoyed the experience with your kids, because truly that is magical. And as Laron joked, but there's some seriousness there. We're jaded, and like I think whenever you're able to experience it, it's like with someone who hasn't seen stuff like that, it does add that kind of like, oh yeah, movies are magical, right? They're not just Hollywood productions. Yeah. That said, Laron, like you said, I always try to find the positives first and start positive. And there's movies I don't like, but I still say nice things about. I don't have too many nice things to say about this movie. So what did I like? The scene where Chris Pratt jumped from the motorcycle to the plane, that was pretty cool. I was very engaged in that sequence. The militarized raptors, that was pretty cool. I kind of wish the whole movie was that, frankly. That was a pretty cool thing. I liked that. Loved the original cast. Laura Dern, Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, always great. I don't feel like their characters in this movie are in any way congruous with what we had seen from those characters in previous movies. But it's okay. It's okay. Does the Ian Malcolm in this movie in any way align with the Ian Malcolm that we saw in Lost World Jurassic Park? No, but that's okay. It's fine. It's fine. And you know what? The one thing I will say, Brock, that I noted here, it is inherently fun to see dinosaurs on the big screen. Just inherently. It's a cool thing. And they haven't gone 100% CGI like I thought they could have. Very easily done, which is what a lot of Hollywood's doing right now. So that you see actual animatronic dinosaurs in certain sequences. Not every dinosaur, but some of the dinosaurs. It's pretty cool. And seeing the T-Rex on the screen, I love it. I'm gonna love it. It's the nostalgia. It's the power of the nostalgia, and I'm a sucker for it. Did I need the T-Rex from Jurassic Park actually walking into a circle to recreate the logo from the original movie? I didn't, but you know what? It's still cool. It's fine. It's fine. So those are the positives. What didn't I like? Everything else. Literally everything.
So you're telling me you didn't like the Dimetrodon scene?
No.
You didn't like the Giganosaurus scene?
The One-Uposaurus? No, I didn't like the One-Uposaurus that's been in every Colin Trevorrow
At least it wasn't
movie.
Genetically engineered. So you're telling me you did not like
the One-Uposaurus? No, I did not like the One-Uposaurus.
What is it? I learned this name from a Dr. Pepper can today at work. The Ichthyocanosaurus, the one with the 3 claws. You didn't like that scene.
I already told you the dinosaurs are the best part. I will say I am really over the tired because Colin Trevorrow. No, actually, no, it's not even just Colin Trevorrow. They've been doing this every one since the Jurassic Park 3, where they're like, all right, we know the T-Rex is the best, but what if we one-upped it? And
we'll get into it later.
Movie.
But you're going to see a movie about dinosaurs, but every scene I just said that were fun dinosaur-packed scenes,
they were.
You didn't like.
I said the dinosaurs were great.
Okay.
As a macro, micro, they're all stupid.
So that's Jason, you called it as an idea and an experience.
Okay.
But when you're like, hey, here's this crazy dinosaur that's probably real, but also way better than the T-Rex. Here it is. It's gonna kill the T-Rex.
And that's why I think my experience changed my mind. It's like, what do you expect? I know we'll get into it. But I also have something to defend that as well.
Okay, that's fair. Here's what I'm gonna say. To Jason's point, this movie is not just dumb, it is aggressively dumb. It thinks the audience is very dumb.
My children are very dumb. They loved it. They loved it.
I'm not insulting the intelligence.
No,
I'm
being serious.
There's an innocence there.
They're 6 and 7, yes.
It's way too long. And I think the biggest sin, which I already alluded to after I finished reading the premise, this movie is not what was promised at the end of Fallen Kingdom, a movie I also didn't like. Right. But when it got to the end, I was like, you know what? It might have set up for a really cool third movie. The marketing marketed directly to me. I was like, you know what? They might have something on their hands here because they set up this, because they get out of the park. That's been the thing. They have to go back to that same premise in every sequel. And this is the one I was like, all right, so they're not in Jurassic Park anymore. They're in the real world. How are humans going to cope? That's a germ of an idea. I'm like, that's pretty compelling.
Yeah.
And you know what they do in this movie? They're like, what if Biosyn, the secretly, not secretly evil corporation, herds them all into... No, okay. They put all the dinosaurs in one area that our main characters have to go through, and you're like, oh, wait, so it's the same premise.
I didn't think anything was going to go wrong.
What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Michael Crichton would be rolling in his grave.
He probably is.
I will give. Yes, he will.
Yeah. And lastly, it's already been done to death on the internet, but it has to be said in the words of Ian Malcom. That is one big pile of shit. I
saw so many reviews of that. It's literally just the GIF. My review of the movie is as follows.
Yes, exactly.
And it's just him looking at the pile of shit, smoking a cigarette.
Exactly. So anyway, I really don't like being overly negative on movies, but this is the first one in a long time where it upset me. I walked away
with its
for a lot of reasons. Okay, now that said, let's not just focus on the negatives. That's my initial take. Let's talk about the return of the original trio. One of the things that I think we all liked, it sounds like, Laron. Yeah, what did you think? Did you think they made a good use of the original trio of Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum?
No, but I do think I appreciated seeing them. I mean, I absolutely felt like this was one of those things where it felt phoned in for all three of them.
Yes,
and that I hated that soullessness that was just missing from their characters. That's what made the first one so good. I think, as I realized as I rewatched it as an adult, I'm like, this was a good movie even before the dinosaurs came into play.
Yes,
because they actually flesh these characters out really well. So to have
and
them,
they feel like real people,
they
not
feel like
not,
people,
not
yeah.
cartoon characters. They feel like real people that you're like, yeah, that's a real problem. Like Sam Neill doesn't like kids, and you're like, oh, and he kind of learns to kind of warm up to kids in the movie. You know, that's kind of interesting. There's the will they, won't they between Laura Dern and Sam Neill, and it's still at the end of the movie not totally clear, but that tension is really interesting. Yeah. And then you got wild card Jeff Goldblum, Ian Malcom, that's like throwing a bunch of like scientific theory out there, and you're like, I don't know what that means, but it's really interesting, and I'm gonna walk away from the movie thinking about
the flirtatiousness with Ellie in the car with the
chaos theory.
Yeah. It just feels like they got them all in a room. They're like, hey, so we give you X amount of dollars. Are you willing to come back for one more movie? You know what I mean? Like, you know, and it felt like, I'm surprised they actually got more screen time than I thought. I thought they were gonna like scream 5 of them and make them just like cameos. They actually characters in the whole movie, but I just felt like the plot was just so dumb. I just felt like they were wasted. I almost wish they weren't here, just so I could just hate the movie on its own merit, or lack thereof, and say, you know, just get them away from it. But since they were in it, now I hate to even incorporate them into this universe. I just kind of wish it was its own. This is the Jurassic World universe. It's not the Jurassic Park I grew up with.
They feel like two different things,
and they didn't feel organic to that space at all. They kind of just felt like pigeonholed into something else. So this is one of the biggest, like, where it felt like a product. The whole thing felt like I see the mechanics, I see the machine, I see how everything is kind of playing into, like, it's not a movie really. It's just like it's something to sell toys. It's a nostalgic cash grab, and I hate that feeling when you're watching something when it's like I wish I was at least entertained. Because if I was entertained, then I'd be like, okay, it was stupid. Like, I mean, I like dumb action movies. I still defend Fast 9, but like, I mean, but this just was.
Maybe I should take my kids to see Fast 9.
Oh. I was like, this was
haven't yet?
This one family brought. Come on,
exactly. This one was just dumb without the fun for me, and that's just how I felt.
The one thing I would disagree on, Jason, with your view is I actually was bored, except for a handful of sequences, because mostly I think it was more of a pacing issue, less of a set piece issue, because there's a lot of cool set pieces throughout the film. I think I just like
lots of things happen.
Yeah, lots of things happen. I think I was just having a hard time, like it would slow way down. It took a long time for things to start up, and then you get a cool sequence, and then there'd be like another like 30 minutes where you're like, oh, okay, I don't care about any.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's too long.
Yes.
And I didn't care about, I don't know when we can get in, I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, how I really would like to discuss how they really double down that they feel like we do care about the relationship between certain characters in these movies, where we do not. And so,
I think you're alluding to, you're talking about the Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah.
Not as much as the child dynamic.
Oh,
yeah.
And maybe also the Chris Pratt Blue relationship.
Yeah.
Like, do they really think that we are invested in
I was like, is this
Blue?
the Land Before Time?
It's
like,
crazy because this is where I go 50-50. The movie is smart enough to know that it's silly because Ian Malcom literally says, wait, you made a... This is kind of a spoiler.
Well, right.
He's like, he's literally stops the movie and says, wait, you made a promise to a dinosaur? But I guess that's what I'm saying. They don't think the audience is smart enough to pick up on that on their own, so they have to, anyway.
Say it and hammer it over. Yeah.
I actually liked Goldblum in it. I thought he was funny.
Yes.
Yeah. Is his character consistent with the others? I don't know. Probably not. But I'm with you on the other original, Ellie and Sam, whatever their names are. They were completely phoning it in to me. I didn't necessarily need them. That's probably why it's so long, is because they felt like they had to give everybody sort of kind of an arc, having the two of them go off together into the lower levels to have their own little adventure, which was completely not necessary. Yeah, I mean, just all that stuff that they just had to go off on these little side projects, which it just wasn't necessary. So, I mean, in a sense, I'm glad that they came back for the nostalgia of it and for, supposedly wrapping this up. Do not believe that. So they did get them back. That's sort of fun. But otherwise, they didn't do anything for me. I did enjoy Goldblum, but otherwise, I didn't. None of that did anything for me.
I kind of expect them to elevate it, and because literally, I had no interest in seeing this at all, and I was like, but as the trailers came out and they bring back the legacy character, I was like, maybe this will, maybe this will be the thing we needed, the thing it's missing, and then I'm just like, this doesn't do anything for it.
What's wild too is that it's literally called Jurassic World, and for this thing that is pretending like a world is so big, they make it so small. all these characters know each other. They go, oh yeah, I know who you are. You train dinosaurs. Oh, I've heard of you. You do that.
They did that so many times. It drove me insane.
The kid knew who Sam Neill was. Listen, Brock, you just talked about how dumb kids are. They don't know. I promise you, she doesn't know who Sam Neill is.
She's living in a cabin in the woods with nothing there. Yeah, she doesn't.
Which, by the way, we're not getting into spoilers, but just a couple of other just very specific dumb things. Let's just pretend like Chris Pratt is really close with Blue, which, good for you. We ain't going outside if there's raptors in the forest. Okay,
No,
we're not doing bonfires, and we are staying inside.
That's what it is. I realize that's what it is. They sucked out anything in all the menace that existed from the dinosaurs. There was something really, actually, genuinely frightening about the
first movie is a borderline horror movie.
They're scary. Like in this, they're like, oh, they're companions, they're friends. They nod heads to each other. Like at the end of the movie,
Listen,
there's literally a moment at the end where he looks at Blue and he's like, yes. And they just nod. I'm just like, I can't.
Well, because you know
what this is.
Because you know what they didn't figure out in the first Jurassic Park, Laron, is the whole secret to that camaraderie. Hand up. That stops any dinosaur.
Yeah, just do this, and then the dinosaurs. Oh, okay, cool. He's cool. He's cool.
Just say their name over and over and over.
It's just like, no, these are dinosaurs. That makes no sense.
They're gonna eat your
dog. Wouldn't
hand
do
off.
this. It's like so. Yeah. Too much.
Sorry, Jason, you were gonna say something else there.
I don't think I was. I think I'm all right.
All right. So Brock, I turn it to you. What did you think of the return of the original cast?
I liked the idea of Dr. Alan Grant and Ellie, coming back together, and because you think about it when you're a kid, like they leave on such like will they or won't they terms, like you said, and then you see in 3 that she ends up marrying somebody else and has kids, and like he's kind of lost a chance. So you kind of like that they're back together just for that nostalgia, stake. It's just like, oh, okay, like I can get back into this to see, because whenever I was a kid, like I was like, I thought they were married. I thought they weren't married. I never knew what they were. And as a kid, like I couldn't really read like body languages and stuff. So I just never knew what they were. So it was always kind of interesting. So I kind of liked their arc. I was okay with their weird side story. It didn't make sense. It was stupid. But just kind of seeing how it would play itself out, which again, I didn't like the bad guy in this and how dumb he was to the fact that Ramsey, he couldn't pick up on Ramsey at all, which I won't go into that until later. I didn't think Jeff Goldblum was utilized that well. He's fantastic in the movie, but I thought he could have been utilized better. Like him working for Bison just seemed weird to me as to what he was before. He had a couple fun little buttons that like kind of harken back to the original. I did laugh. I don't want to ruin those because they are pretty, I don't know, they're pretty fun. I don't have to go long on it, but did it make use of the original trio? I will even say the original Quattro with Dr. Henry Wu. Dr. Henry Wu is just stripped of everything he's ever been in.
He's hardly in the movie.
And when he is, he seems like a completely different person than every other movie before that. He's always been very smart, very sure of himself. And in this one, it's very weird. He seems like a completely different character that wasn't even in any of the other ones.
Or as Alan Grant refers to in the movie, hey, I know you. I remember you. That's something like every.
Bro, they all know each other. To the Velociraptor.
The movie goes. That's what I'm saying. Like they just assume the audience is dumb, and I'm not saying everybody in the audience is going to remember all these characters. What I am saying though is that I think audiences can pick up. Oh, these guys have a past. They have real conversations. They don't need to stop the movie and be like, I remember you. You're the raptor trainer guy. Or you're the scientist guy I met 30 years ago, right? Yeah. Oh, it drove me crazy.
But I'm telling you, that kid, she's what in the movie? 15?
Maybe 15. Maybe,
And she goes, oh, you're Dr. Alan Grant. No. She does not know who Alan Grant is.
Did one of the raptors tell you that? It's like,
I just want to echo everything that's being said. I think I will say Jeff Goldblum was the one I liked the most, purely because he's Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, he's just playing himself.
He's playing himself.
Yeah.
I did find the idea that this secretly evil, not secretly evil corporation, Biosyn, they're like, hey, this guy was a big thought leader back in the 90s. What if we hired him to come like just say shit on our campus? I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I've been in those rooms where you're like, how did this person get hired? Oh, they were famous like 30 years ago. So I thought that was kind of clever, even though they didn't really take it that far. And it was, I will say, Brock, to your point, it really made his allegiances very confusing. And also, I don't want to spoil it too much, but the way in which he interacts with Grant and Sattler, you're like, he's doing what? Yeah. What? And also, he acts like they stayed in touch and they've been BFFs this whole time. I don't know. The whole thing, it just felt like you said, Laron, I could see the mechanics being like, this is so artifice.
Yeah.
I didn't really like, and I hated the entire subplot that all three of them are involved in. Like, again, we'll get more in spoilers, but it is not what any of us signed up for when we bought the ticket for the movie.
No,
and
there's 3 movies in this movie, and none of them are good.
Yeah, exactly. So with that said, pretty disappointing overall, but Jeff Goldblum, the guy could do anything, and I'll be happy he's there. Let's be real. Yeah. Okay, now, Jason, you alluded to a moment ago, this is also, as Colin Trevorrow has been pitching it, the conclusion of not just the Jurassic World trilogy, but all 6 movies. And when I read that quote, I was like, PTSD flashbacks to the Rise of Skywalker being the end of 9 movies, and we all saw that planned out. So the question, though, is, that's a pretty bold claim. Do you think Dominion delivers on a quote-unquote conclusion on any level? And I'll start with you.
Who's next? No. I mean, I don't know what I wanted, but no, it wasn't this. And they'll do another movie. It may not be Jurassic World, it may be Jurassic Universe or something. I don't know what it'll be, and it will be new characters or whatever. But no, I'm with you that the way the last one was set up is not what this turned out to be at all. And a lot of this stuff, you mentioned Star Wars, where they clearly did not have a plan. You wonder how much of a plan they had with these, and you wonder how much they delivered on what that original plan was. And then you stop wondering, because then you realize you don't really care that much, because it just really wasn't very good.
No, exactly. That's the thing. It doesn't matter. At a certain point when it's really bad, you're like, I don't really care if you knew or not. Either way, your original, if you did know, your original idea was very bad.
It was really bad and didn't, follow through. It was not great.
Laron, anything you want to add to that?
No, it just felt lazy. It's weird. It felt the film is like busy and lazy at the same time. The writing's lazy, the ideas are lazy, so this is a weird way to bookend this. Like I have not really enjoyed any of the Jurassic World movies like entirely, but at least Jurassic World, like I didn't love it, but there was still like something. There was still some merit to it.
The premise was at least compelling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the sequel left a lot to be desired, and then this one just kind of just for me just spontaneously combusted. So I don't really know. It's a weird way to end all of these stories, and they definitely feel like the World movies feel so divorced from the first 3. A lot of people don't love 3, but I feel like it's still 3. At least still felt like it was in the same realm.
Grant still feel like Grant.
Right, exactly. Yep. These just feel like their own self-contained universes that also have dinosaurs and surprisingly now have the same cast members from the first one. So I don't know. Yeah, no, it was a weird way to end it for me. But
did you not love all the fan service, the callbacks to the previous movies?
I normally like that kind of thing. I like Scream. I like things like that. I like these kinds of things.
There was
normally.
one callback I did like, and
well, okay, we didn't preface this. I don't think this is too much of a spoiler because you find out pretty early. But I will just say, I won't say much about what this character, but Lewis Dodgson, who was in literally one scene in the original movie, makes a very prominent appearance in this film. And the funny thing is, it's a totally different actor, and it was 5 movies ago and almost 30 years ago, and he was in one scene. And even though he's a really big part of the Michael Crichton novels that I love, very few people who just kind of casually watch these are like, oh, that's that one guy from that one scene in Jurassic Park. I
didn't put it together till you sent the email today to prepare to talk about this.
It's just like the reviews of that's a big pile of shit. Like for him, it's like Dotson. We got Dotson here.
Yeah.
See, nobody cares. Right. Like from the original movie.
That's
like,
spot on.
Yeah. Like see, nobody cares. Like they didn't make enough of
Wow,
it.
That came full circle. Yeah.
That's a great
callback.
Yes. Brock, I mean, did this land for you in terms of like kind of putting a pin at the end of the 6
So
films?
now that my kids are out of the way, I can get down to the serious business. This did not conclude the movie. It was a horrible conclusion. It made 0 sense. This was, if you could even call it, this was Jurassic Park 7, not 6. Because you're expecting what comes after 5. You're expecting dinosaurs taking over the world, and we get the intro, which was kind of how we've already come to terms with it. I don't know. I guess that's a spoiler. But so this was 7 in a fact that like it gleams over everything that the end of 5 promised.
Yeah, they skipped over all the stuff that you're like, that's the interesting movie.
Thought was going to happen. Their preparation for this movie was fantastic. Like leading up to it, thinking that you're going to get this huge spectacle. They had dinohunter.com, if you guys went to that and saw that. And it was literally, it was a interactive map of the globe.
Oh, really?
And it had all of the different sightings of dinosaurs that people had captured. So it had like the Mosasaurus swimming past like an underwater oil driller. Like it swam past like the camera that monitors the drilling. It had people posting to social media like being chased by a baryonyx in like South America as they were hiking, and them hiding from it and like filming around a rock. It had like stegosauruses blocking the road. It had all of these things, and you're like, holy smokes, like this is amazing. Like this is a very smart way to market a movie, to post all of these things of dinosaurs living among us and how it's changing our world, and then to be, you know, kind of hoodwinked into that and then get what we got. Like it just, no, like this was, if you can even call it 7, because even if it was 7, you'd be like, it's not what it's supposed to be. It just wasn't what it was supposed to have been. So no, it did not conclude the trilogy. It was just a weird movie.
My problem is especially when you position this as this is the epic conclusion that was promised 30 years ago, you're like, no,
not really. I think there was one book, right? I mean, it's
exactly two books.
There were two. Okay.
There was a Lost World book, which is dramatically different from the film.
I mean, we really weren't promised anything.
I loved Michael Crichton, and I never knew that Lost World. I never knew he wrote a second book.
And let's not pretend like all Michael Crichton books are good.
No, it's fair.
You know,
they're not all great.
You know,
no, not at all. No, I agreed.
I guess my point is, you know, nothing was promised, but the way they're marketing these films, the way they tried to market Episode 9, like it's been building to this, and I'm like,
not really.
I don't think so.
Not when you make it up as you go along.
Exactly. I don't think so.
I feel like you skipped ahead.
And again, the thing that was promised to us, Brock, to your point, where you're like, oh, the dinosaurs in the real world, that's compelling. They totally gloss over that, and that's not the movie we got here. So I don't think this movie.
The best part of that movie is now in the Progressive commercial where the T-Rex is in the drive-in theater.
Yeah. See, that was great. That was great marketing.
But I did think that was going to be in the movie, though.
Exactly.
I really did.
I did too.
You're like, where
We've
the hell did that go?
Been lied to and have trust issues. They're galloping with the horses at the end, and I'm just like, this is not the movie that, you know, it's bad. It's bad.
Let's go ahead and do later grades. I can belabor the point and talk about why I hate this movie for hours, but which doesn't happen very often, frankly. Broccoli, I'm going to start with you. What letter grade would you give this film?
A+ for my experience.
For experience. Okay. All right, fair.
D+ for the movie, only because I did enjoy some of the dinosaur things. Like I had fun with some of the dinosaur things. After the movie, I will give it an F because we went and ate at Chick-fil-A, and I had to take my son to the restroom, and when we did, someone came and stole food off our table.
What? Whoa.
Stole all of our food, and we came
At a Christian establishment?
At a Christian establishment, they allowed some man to come in and finger through my food.
Whoa.
And I came out, and the person told me, they're like, someone stole food off your table, sir. And I was like, oh, that's terrible. He goes, he's outside if you want to get it back. And I said, I don't think I want it back. He can keep it.
You just looked at him and said, thy will be done.
Yeah. They replaced our food. So it goes A for experience, D+ for the actual movie, F- for Chick-fil-A afterwards.
Okay.
Damn, Chick-fil-A taking the heat. Laron Chapman, what is your Chick-fil-A review of the day?
I started off giving this 2 stars, and then I thought about it, and I just thought that's so generous.
That is very generous.
It's so generous. So I gave it 1.5 stars.
I think it's such crap that you guys aren't appreciating the dinosaurs that are in it, though.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. No. The thing is, they are in there, but the thing is, they're not scary, and they're not in it very much. That's
they're not scary.
I can give you the not scary.
Those moments don't have like that. They don't have that gravitas. That
it's so hard to talk about without spoiling something.
They're present.
There is a scene that they are not nearly scared enough of the dinosaurs, which we will get to in the spoilers.
Okay.
But yeah, my letter grade is also a D+ for the film.
You guys are so nice to this movie.
A D+ is nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
For this one,
I really liked
ready for your
the Bryce Dallas Howard scene where she's crawling, even though it was really dumb. I still enjoyed it.
Even though, again, it's totally incongruous to where she was the last 2 movies. It's okay. It's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but she's great. I love seeing her. I do love seeing Bryce Dallas Howard on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I like her.
Yeah, she's
I like
great.
her. She's fine.
Yeah, she's great.
No issues with her.
Maybe it does give it a half star just because she's there.
She's the she's the reason it's not 1.
Yeah, there we go.
1.5.
Jason Black, what letter grade would you give this?
Well,
one?
I like so far. Laron ruined it a little bit, but Brock gave it a D+, and then Laron gave it 2 stars. So I was just going to give it a thumbs down. I thought maybe we were supposed to do something different.
The Michael Scott series of grading things.
So, yeah, I mean, a D+, that's what I was thinking too, but I wanted to give something different than the other 2.
It's just a solid number. I think it's just right where it's at. It's
No, it's not. It's an
D
F.
for dumb.
It's an F.
It's a
It's an
frowny
F.
face.
An F.
It's
D
an
for
F.
dinos.
It's too long. It's too dumb. It makes me retroactively not want to watch the previous movies, even though Jurassic Park 1 is, I would qualify as one of the very handful of films I would say is a perfect movie.
It makes you not want to watch the original movie?
It makes me not want to watch it for a little while. Yeah. Wow. Because I'm just like, this is such a dumb franchise. Like, when you know where it goes and where it goes is such a dumb, awful place, you're like, well, maybe I don't even want to think about that when I watch the original.
The Halloween resurrections of the franchise where you're just like, that didn't happen.
Are you shocked at how much money it's making? I know it was projected, but I'm really surprised. And the reason I say I'm surprised is because I know so many more people, and I know Top Gun's making a lot of money too, but I know so many more people that are excited about Top Gun and have posted about Top Gun, and all ages, and they talk about the 4 quadrants. I don't know anyone that wanted to see Jurassic World, and it's making, I can't believe how much more money it's making.
Can you believe that I think it beat Lightyear, right?
It did. It did. In its second weekend.
Yeah,
that was a shocker.
That's a shocker.
Yeah, Jason, that's a great point because I've only seen people post negative things about this movie online. So who are the people who are showing up? I mean,
well, to make this much money, and I know you got to give your letter grade, but to make this much money, you got to go twice. To have this much money, these are not only one-time viewers.
That means there's enough people with positive word of mouth to inspire their friends, and they go say, "Who sits through this? This is a torture device. A second time."
Luckily, my kids don't realize that you can go see the same movie twice in a theater. Because today they were like, "When can we buy it to watch it at home?" I was like, "Oh, it's a long time from now." So
nice. Well played. I mean, I'm being honest. I give it an F. I think I gave it 1 star on Letterboxd was my review, and the half a star was I like Jeff Goldblum, and then there were a couple of sequences. Like I did mention the specific. I thought the raptor chase sequence that was featured in the trailers did deliver. I laughed audibly when that guy on the lime scooter got eaten. That was pretty cool.
Great. Yeah, the Carnosauruses were sweet in the town square with him riding the bike.
Yeah,
that was
great. That was a cool sequence. I was entertained. I liked I liked.
We'll get into it.
Okay.
I liked it's dumb. I just want to make sure it's clear. It's aggressively dumb, but I had fun with the idea that there's just like a lady assassin who just laser lights people and
then disappears and never comes
back.
She was the most menacing character.
100%. 100%. And then she disappeared.
I just heard so many people mention it, like, hey, I did not sign up for this Fast and the Furious knockoff. And I said, I said it was a Mission Impossible knockoff.
Yes.
I'm just like, there was so many like weird elements.
See, I agree. I don't know if we're at that part yet, but that's not Jurassic Park. That's not Jurassic World. That scene...
It made no sense. It was like, why do we need this? And
I'm just having like reverse deja vu because like I feel like we went and saw F9 and then we all talked about this and I don't know. I feel like it went more positive than this.
It knows that it's dumb, and I think that
that's the big thing. It knows that it's dumb, and it's in on the joke. Whereas this movie doesn't think the audience is in on the joke, so it goes out of its way to deliver the punchline, like feed them the punchline.
So it just feels patronizing because it's just like, whereas like the other one's like wink at the camera.
It was a terrible movie.
It wasn't great.
It's not great. But is there anything else we would recommend to listeners? Maybe a movie, a television show, a novel, music, video game, other media that you give to listeners who are at least maybe curious about Jurassic World Dominion? I'm just gonna say, go watch the original movie. Go read the original. The original novel, Jurassic Park, is fantastic.
I read that book so many times. I read the junior novelization before I was old enough to read the big book. My dad would take me to my sister's dance classes and I would read the junior novelization over and over again. The original book is fantastic.
It's a masterpiece. I think both the novel and the film are masterpieces.
Changed my life. The book, because I became a graphic designer because of it. The movie, because I gained at least 30 pounds as a child because all I did was sit in my room and watch it on repeat.
And also, I'd say the visual effects largely, not 100%, but they largely hold up pretty well for a movie that's almost 30 years old.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Laron Chapman, what would you recommend to listeners?
I couldn't. I mean, dinosaur movies are. I googled it. There's not that many actually. To be surprised. I mean, not any.
I would watch Oklahoma-produced film Jurassic Games at least 5 more times before I'd watch this again.
I agree. I absolutely agree. So I mean, it's like I just thought like creature features. I'm like, I kind of liked. I mean, didn't love it, but it was entertaining. Like Crawl. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, Crawl was fun.
I was like, if you're into that like creature feature sort of thing, then that's a far more.
It was Tarantino's top film that year.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I found it entertaining. So and it's also dumb, but it's also pretty. It's slick and entertaining at least. So.
Mm-hmm. All right, Broccoli. Other than novel, anything you'd recommend?
Yeah. So if you're looking as a into the world by means of people being dumb, like in Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, I recommend The Mist, because that is actual dominion of creatures taking over the world. And it is actually scary. It's good. It's suspenseful. And it's a conclusive ending. If you haven't seen it,
definitely very conclusive.
That is an ending that it gives you, and you are just left there,
I
slack-jawed.
love the ending to that movie.
Some
people hate it, but because it's not the ending in the book. But I love the ending.
It's a fantastic ending. It's a fantastic ending.
It fits the story.
It's so much better than the short story, and it's one of those rare things. One, it's rare because it's a Stephen King adaptation that's actually really good, and the ending is actually very satisfying because you don't expect certain things. Like with Jurassic World Dominion, like. You never fear for any one character because you're like, they're not going to kill this one, 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 this one. And so you never have like, I dug the dinosaur scenes, but you never like have that like fear for anybody. And so in The Mist, you're just constantly just worried. And again, you don't get much creatures, but it is creatures taking over the world, but it's also creatures that lurk within your circles that, good versus evil. I don't know. Fantastic movie, and that's the first one that came to mind.
I think it's a great recommendation. I think more people should see it. It's great. It's probably I'll check. It's probably streaming somewhere right now, I'm sure. Jason Black, what would you recommend to listeners who are at least casually interested in Jurassic World Dominion? Maybe instead of watching it, they could go watch this thing or read this thing.
Jaws. I mean, I don't know.
That's good.
I mean, if you're saying within the dinosaur world, I'd just say go watch Jurassic Park. But if you want a movie that's really good, just go watch Jaws.
Yeah. Prehysteria with the kid from Last Action Hero. He has baby dinosaurs. It's a dope movie.
What was it? The Meg? That's the movie with the giant shark.
Even that, which I didn't like.
It's not amazing, but at least it knows what it is.
I wasn't offended by it.
Yeah.
They're making a sequel, and it actually got a really good director, I think.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
Yeah, like a really good director.
Oh boy, I better batten down the hatches now. All right, so last thing in the spoiler-free section, then we'll move on and talk about a few things. Let's rank the movies. I'll just start us off. I think in my opinion, it's pretty obvious. It's descending order. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think they get worse as they go.
I actually think Jurassic World is pretty good.
You like Jurassic World?
Yeah, I do. I like it. I think Jurassic World was a good. I know it's kind of it's just a rehash of the first movie, essentially, but I actually had a really good time in the theater when I saw it the first time. I'd say it's much better than Jurassic 3.
Okay.
So I actually think Jurassic World is pretty fun.
Well, the thing about Jurassic World that I like, I still feel like it's kind of dumb, but it is. I love the idea of, but what if they figured out how to work? Let's just skip over all the logistics that the second and third movie dwell on why it wouldn't work. What if they did though? That's pretty compelling, and they show what that's like, and it's actually really interesting. That's the part of the movie I like the most. So I think that's a fair argument. Yeah. Laron Chapman.
Dominion's the worst. I think Fallen Kingdom's right behind it. I don't hate Jurassic Park 3 as a lot of people do. I find it to be like a very
it's a ride.
It's a ride. It's not great. It's entertaining though, but I put that, in next place. I think Jurassic World, the Lost World. Yeah. comes in next for me, and then I think Jurassic World, the first one, is in second place, and then the first one.
All right, so we got some champions of Jurassic World at the table.
I think it's good.
It's actually like they at least have interesting like set pieces, and like I feel like the dinosaurs are still menacing to me. You know, they still like set those scenes up well enough. I think the plot's a little sillier, but like they at least got that right.
That was the one movie I actually thought Bryce Dallas Howard was really well utilized of the Jurassic World movies. I didn't like her much in the second or the third one, or this one, but she was actually really well utilized in that first one. Even I know everyone likes to make fun of the fact that she ran in heels, but
but even she does. I mean, she's self-aware.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, Brock.
I go 5 is the worst because I've watched it once and never wanted to watch it again. I just didn't care.
You too, Brock, can buy a dinosaur for $50 million.
I mean, the volcano erupting was okay, but that was like the only part I remember.
The one dinosaur that had like the hair, like a spike haircut. That was a good time.
That was a good time. I liked it. So I go 5, 3. A child living on that island by himself for that many weeks is unrealistic and stupid. And the fact that he saved Dr. Grant pissed me off. Then I go 6 because of experience with my children. Then I go 4 because, again, like Jurassic World, it was Chris Pratt coming off of like, Guardians of the Galaxy, kind of getting into like his groove of like
Lego movie.
Kind of like he was huge. Like it was before the Chris Pratt fatigue. So like you were still kind of into him. Like, yeah, dude, I'm championing you. Like Parks and Rec was dope. You kind of got yourself together. Now you're an action hero. That's awesome. Then I go 2. 2 is vastly underrated. If you go back and watch it, it's actually really good. The scene with the trailer falling over the cliff.
That's an incredible set piece.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's actually really good. And again, Jeff Goldblum, he's in the entire movie. Like
I like the characters in 2 a lot more, so that's why that one like is still like I hold it a little bit tighter.
I love it because he's been through it one time and he actually learned lessons, which is this whole thing's stupid. Don't do it. But he gets sucked in for very believable reasons, which is his girlfriend and his daughter.
The only reason I hate that movie is because his daughter, Uneven Bar,
just so dumb,
kills a velociraptor by doing gymnastics, and I was like, that is the dumbest. And so I think that's why I hated it for so long. But I watched it again, and I was like, if you don't watch that,
it's got Vince Vaughn, baby. Come on,
super, yeah, dude. It's got
honestly
Vince
the
Vaughn.
only
Julianne Moore,
Julianne Moore is the only thing I love her. I love her to pieces. But this is the one movie where I think that she actually gave a performance I thought was not good. But
okay,
that's just.
But I mean, Jurassic World 2, The Lost World, is more Dominion than Jurassic World 6. I don't know, because it was the first time you get dinosaurs on the mainland and how people react.
The T-Rex does go through. Was it Los Angeles? I think. Yeah,
San Diego
or San Diego. That's right.
Then you go way further up the line, and of course you have 1, which is like one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, I would argue it's one of the handful movies I'd go to bat and say this is a perfect movie, and the fact that I would not change a thing about it.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That's our spoiler-free review of Jurassic World Dominion. That's our rankings. We're going to hit on a few topics. Probably we'll try not to run too long because we chatted so much in the spoiler-free section. But if you don't want to be spoiled on Jurassic World Dominion, go ahead and tune out now.
Hold on to your butts.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now in spoilers for Jurassic World Dominion, and I just have to, I have to start with this. You market the film as the end of a 6-film series, which it's not. We already discussed that in depth. But you're saying that for 30 years, it was building up to locusts. Fucking locusts?
Locusts.
This is a Jurassic Park, Jurassic World movie. Dinosaurs. You hand delivered us a solid premise with dinosaurs in the real world. I'm down. And you show up with fucking locusts. I'm sorry, swearing, guys. This is where I thought for sure it was going to be like a transition, like the locusts show up only to set up another subplot that's more interesting. No, it's literally the locusts. They're going to eat all the crops not owned by the obviously evil Bioscene Corporation run by Lewis Dodgson. I just want everyone's take on this. I don't want to belabor the point. I think it's the dumbest subplot, and it's the subplot that uses the original cast. This
is where they get all the meat from them from.
Exactly. It's not like they're interacting with the dinosaurs, which I thought I was getting. No, they're interacting with locusts.
Yeah.
Laron, what do you think?
Yeah, there are levels to the stupidity. I'm actually surprised that's the thing that's most offensive, because I thought that was dumb. But it's for me, it's the self-reproducing woman and the I was like, why did we need this? These are elements that are so divorced from what this. I mean, it's already kind of silly. I mean, dinosaurs coexisting with it's just kind of like, but this just reached another level of like, okay. I can't. Like, the locust is just a cherry on top of all of it, and I was just kind of.
You think when Sattler shows up and you're like, oh, this is the bridge. She's a botanist, right, or whatever. Yeah. You're like, okay, oh, the locust. It's a bridge. She gets invested because of this, and it's going to bridge to why she's doing the thing with the dinosaurs.
It really is about. It's actually more about the story. Actually, is more about the locust conflict and what they're creating. And the Biosyn Empire than it is about the dinosaurs.
100%.
Which is really strange. You know, this is the concluding.
It was leading up to Locust.
Leading up to Locust.
You said Locust was the cherry on top, but like the self-reproducing woman was just her taking a dump on top of the cherry.
So dumb.
It was like, this is what we need.
It made me think, now we're going to get people out here protesting that life begins at inception. I mean, just like them coming up with it was just the stupidest thing that first off, they set it up with the clone in the second one, which was dumb enough. And now it's like, well, actually, no, she can get herself pregnant because of a frog or whatever they said it was. I can't, or it was a tapir or so, whatever it was, monitor. Let's just keep naming animals. But yeah, it was so stupid. And then you throw the locusts on. Like you said, it's about dinosaurs.
That's why people show up. And they promised it with the premise at the end of 5 and the marketing. You're like, okay, this is what we're here to see. It feels like a bait and switch. It's a totally different movie within the movie that you want to see.
You don't need it. Which is really what, I mean, Laron mentioned this earlier. There's too many movies within a movie with this. Definitely. They start off with this sweeping landscapes with this dinosaurs everywhere, but then we do go. But again, they're really doubling down that we care about that. I guess they're parents to this little girl, which we saw for 5 minutes in Fallen Kingdom and didn't care about then. But then when they go and it does turn into kind of Fast and Furious, but kind of Mission Impossible, kind of James Bond, Jurassic Park doesn't have earpieces where we're talking to each other across the city. But then they go into the Mos Eisley Cantina where there's like gambling and there's dinosaurs. And that was the thing, like you mentioned, Laron, being like, there's no menace. They're not scared of them. They are in like a fighting pit. There's two gentlemen fighting with each other. There are loose dinosaurs that people are watching these two fellas wrestle when a dinosaur could just come and eat your face at any moment, but they are not concerned with that. 100%. Then we go out, and my man from the first one, Jurassic World, this is one of my things in movies that drives me nuts. So I always laugh about, you watch a show, you watch a movie, they get a phone call and they go, meet me tomorrow at 1524 West 81st Street, 40 foot, and then they hang up. And I would go like, what was the address again? What did you say? You only said it once. I didn't write it down. Could you call me at 555-792? They hang up. I need that number. The code is 494. People just know this stuff. Well, when they find out that the girl that we don't care about got stolen, and the guy goes, Bryce Dallas Howard goes, they're taking her on a plane, and he goes, there's an airfield north of here.
Great.
And then Chris Pratt goes, great, I've never been here before. Let me get on my motorbike and just go north. He didn't say like, well, I mean, is it like just go north and I'll find it?
It's the instincts. As a raptor trainer, he knew in his gut that's where he needed to go.
Is there a particular street that I should go down?
Right, or is there an intersecting road?
I wasn't watching my
landmark?
Kids during that scene. And I was like, well, that was.
I was definitely thinking of geography.
and we should also mention this is when he's also driving away from raptors. So not only is his adrenaline's running because he's driving away from raptors. He's like, oh, I should probably drive to this location that I don't know where it's at.
Yes. And this is when it's like James Bond but instead of, I don't know, bad guys, it's these raptors trying to catch him.
I just feel like none of these questions came up in the writer's room. Like no one said like, hey, so when they, I don't
like they came in and they're like, what if a T-Rex eats a dog and he looks in a little boy's bedroom? They're like, oh, bro, that was done in Jurassic Park 2. They're like, oh shit, we wrote an entire script like this. Let's okay. The little girl's mom made her instead, and then they just like pivoted at the last second. They're like, fuck it, let's just do something super.
They're like, we got Laura, we got the OGs back. It's
well,
fine.
you know. Speaking of the writers thing, I'm not going to belabor this point here. Guys, Colin Trevorrow is a bad writer. He's a bad writer. Because you know what I realized? I actually didn't realize this until I was prepping for this podcast. My favorite movie he ever did, which basically bought him the ticket to the Jurassic World franchise, and then episode 9, and then he lost episode 9 because apparently he's a bad writer. Safety Not Guaranteed. I, for the longest time, swore he wrote that script. He, in fact, did not write that script. He was just the director.
And the only reason that movie's good is because of Mark Duplass and Jake Johnson and Aubrey Plaza, because they are very charismatic actors, and they made that script.
Writers, really. I mean, Mark Duplass, right? You know.
Yeah, totally.
I genuinely I didn't realize that until I was like, he didn't write the script. No wonder, because he has throughout. He didn't direct the second one.
But he didn't write this, did he?
He did. Yes, he did. He did. He co-wrote it.
Co-wrote it because that girl
and Jurassic World. And he co-wrote all 3 of them.
Yeah.
He did World, and even though he didn't direct the second one, he was still a writer. And he wrote this one.
Well, he lost Star Wars because of one of his writing, directing endeavors, Book of Henry. He lost Star Wars because it was horrible.
Hey, but you know what, though? Duel of the Fates does sound kind of cool. If you've seen the stuff that I haven't read the actual script.
Okay,
but
so to be fair, as much as I want to bag on his writing, the episode 9 script he wrote that has been animated online. I haven't read the full script myself, but the shortened version you can go find like on YouTube actually sounds significantly better than the movie we got.
It sounds pretty cool.
And it actually was like, oh, what if we like followed up Last Jedi instead of just pretended it was a dumb movie? And yeah, anyway.
Maybe he should go Zack Snyder and make a movie about it and just take the same premise but change the character.
Change the whole thing.
Rebel Moon coming out.
And I kind of feel like he's one of those directors, like, you know, where you give the indie director the big budget movie, because you've seen this happen, and we've kind of seen this. I think of people like Ava DuVernay, you know, who did, Selma, and then immediately made, well, not immediately, but got $100 million movie to do A Wrinkle in Time. Terrible movie. You know, like, but
they can't all be Rian Johnson. What I'm hearing is Rian Johnson is a gem, and they're not all Rian Johnson.
Absolutely. And then I even thought like Chloe Zhao won Best Picture of the Year, Best Director, whatever, you know, like, and then
Coogler.
Coogler, I think, is the best example. I feel like
Black Panther was pretty good.
Black Panther was pretty good.
Creed is awesome.
Oh,
sure. Like he showed his chops.
Like, and he has his stamp on it still. Like, it still felt like his movie. Yes. You know, so but you know, I just think that Ryan Coogler is probably the best example. But
him and Rian Johnson are the two like poster children for like, you make an amazing indie, and then all of a sudden a studio shows up and says, "What if we gave you tons of money to make a cooler movie?" Because both of them are great. But you're right, Laron. You know, there are a lot of filmmakers they've done that with, and it just hasn't panned out.
They're great in their lane, and then you give them money, and then it doesn't really like.
Gareth Edwards, Monster, and then Godzilla was whatever, but I loved Rogue One. I thought Rogue One was freaking.
It was a solid movie.
I think Godzilla's pretty good.
I know the first Godzilla I liked.
I think it's pretty good.
You know, one thing Colin Trevorrow said though, you know, along those lines was in an IndieWire interview. He said, "Part of my job is to honor Michael Crichton's work, and honestly, I think dinosaurs and humans battling it out in the city streets is just a different kind of film than what he would have done." So the question I have for you is, do you think he actually achieved a story on the level of Michael Crichton? Or do you think he should have just done dinos versus people, or dinos learning to cohabit with people?
Well, I mean, we're really just seeing the same thing over and over again, right? I mean, it's a park, and they're dropped in the middle of it, and the power's going to go off, and something's going to go wrong, and they have to try and get out before the dinosaurs eat them, which, let's be real, that's kind of what we're signing up for. We kind of want to see that. But to our point we made earlier, there's different deliverables. Steven Spielberg can deliver that plot better than Colin Trevorrow can. So, but, what did Michael Crichton want? I don't know. But I think all 6 of these movies are pretty much the same thing. Yes. There's just a different execution to them with some moving parts around it. And, you guys were talking about the first one. I think another thing about the first one is that there's not 15 different stories happening at the same time. You've got motivation for everybody, and at the end, it's basically just to stay alive. But in this one, it's to the locusts. It's that they made a clone. It's that they're trying to also find the raptor baby. I mean, there's a million things going on besides something went wrong and we've just got to survive so we can get out of here. And that's where these movies go wrong, because otherwise it's pretty much the same premise every time.
Just convoluted. It's just all over the place.
Which is why I don't like the chase through the city streets, because that's not what Jurassic Park and Jurassic World are. But is this what Michael Crichton would have wanted? I don't know. I mean, what do I know? I don't know the guy.
That's a fair point.
It is.
Okay.
It is what Michael
Crichton
would have wanted, because it's what Michael Crichton has written. I've read about 5 or 6 Michael Crichton books. I'm by no means no expert, but whenever I looked over our notes today and saw what you wrote, it took me back to being 12, 13 years old, and it reminded me of a novel by Michael Crichton called Prey.
Yeah.
And it is about...
Cool book cover.
Huh?
Cool book cover. It is. I'm not making fun of you. It really is.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It is about a corporation that makes nanorobots that then learn to self-reproduce. And they escape, and they're out in the world, and they are aggressive, and they kill, and they self-reproduce, and they're learning. And whenever you said that, I was like, that's what these locusts are. They're manufactured by a corporation who is greedy, who wants money.
That's awesome. I want a Prey movie. Give me a Prey movie.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. Like, your question is like, did he deliver on a Michael Crichton level? He did. It's like he went and read Michael Crichton novels, and he's like, hey, I'm going to make a Michael Crichton movie, but like, you did it at the wrong time. You did it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
It's like you tried to be too smart on something that was already established. But like, because everything about the locust, it literally mimics the novel Prey.
Okay.
And so I don't know.
Too many movies in one movie.
Too many movies in one movie.
I feel like make that movie for sure, yeah. But
because like you think about it, self-reproducing, being a menace, like
all the same
and it's all
things.
driven by corporate greed, which makes sense.
Developed by corporate
It
greed.
feels like a Michael Crichton premise.
And I read the book as a kid, and like I haven't thought about it, and literally until today. And it was funny because when I got your notes, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like he's done this before. And so I don't know. It was just kind of funny, like the flashback that I had from reading Prey as a kid.
That is an interesting insight. Almost makes me forgive the movie, but not quite.
So I'll bring us home by saying this. Again, we're sort of running out of time, but I think, Jason, you sort of raise a great point here, which is saying these movies all have the same premise. And I'm going to just pose the question here. I'm not saying I don't like all of these movies. I'm just going to ask the question, have any of the Jurassic Park sequels really been any good? And I don't mean like, did you enjoy them? I mean, have they actually been any good? Because I feel like the thing is we're constantly chasing the premise of the first movie. And even in this movie, like I said, I kind of alluded to this in the spoiler-free section, they go out of their way to create a reason why all these dinosaurs are in one place. And I was like, I thought that was the opposite of what this movie was selling. And it's they just can't get away from it. And so I guess, assuming, I think it sounds like we all agree the original is a masterpiece to varying degrees. Do you actually think any of the sequels have gotten close to matching what made that first film a perfect blockbuster? And what I mean is, we've talked about this throughout the conversation, characters that are motivated in a way that feels real and relatable. Yeah. Big ideas, Michael Crichton style, big ideas that the characters wrestle with throughout the film. The thrills of being chased by dinosaurs and not knowing whether or not you're going to survive, right? Like the first movie did it all. And it feels like every one of these sequels has been chasing that. So, Laron, I'm just going to ask you the question. One, do you think any of the sequels are any good? And two, if not, if so, or if not, like what's been missing?
No, I don't think any of them are necessarily good. I think some of them are enjoyable. Some of the sequels are enjoyable, but yeah, I think what's missing for me mainly is characterization. For me, I realized more and more that what elevated Jurassic Park was the fact that we had 3 really dynamic characters that we were invested in, again, before any dinosaurs ever came. The dinosaurs were just that extra, when the story just amped up and we realized we were watching, because it was a good movie outside of being a spectacle, where it's just the spectacle without the characterization. So I feel like it's just, that only has so much appeal. So 6 movies in, it's just strained to the point where even the dinosaurs aren't even cool to see for me anymore. Because they're no longer menacing, they're no longer scary. So, and then if I don't care about the human interactions, which you mentioned, there's several terrible ones in this new one. I don't care about this subplot about these parents and what have you. That was my issue with Jurassic World. Was that the whole story is around what was the Judy Greer character and then her 2 sons there's
the divorce.
The divorce. Yeah. I'm I don't
raise
care.
The stakes.
I'm get to the dinosaurs. I hate these kids. They're annoying. I just the whole movie and I'm just if I cared about them, you know what I'm saying? But that's the dilemma, is that
it just feels like a lesser version of what had already been established, because we get that same sort of implication in the original movie from Lex and Tim, which is that the parental situation is not great, but they love their grandpa, right?
Yeah.
And it's tried to recreate it.
And it's increasingly been watered down.
But that's why I don't get that. I keep going back to the box office. That's why I don't get why it's making so much money, because it is sort of just the 6th iteration of the same thing, and it's kids not very good. Well, I know, yeah.
Kids like dinosaurs,
I'm gonna have 6 kids. We keep having kids. They haven't seen the first one.
But kids like Buzz Lightyear too, and that ain't making any money.
I can't speak to all the movies, because you're right. Consistently, they've all made money. I can say the biggest appeal to me, even knowing that this movie was probably going to be bad, was that it wasn't about superheroes. Yeah. It was an alternative to what we have been oversaturated with for a long time. And even if I even if going in, I was this is probably not going to be very good. And it's not that I don't like superhero movies. It's just that, gosh, we've seen the same thing a million times. Well, this is offering a thrill that's different, even if I don't love it.
Well, think about it. When was aside from when Jurassic Park came out, when was the last time you saw dinosaurs on the big screen? Was it 20,000 BC, whenever it was claymation and stop motion?
For me, it was Tree of Life, and it wasn't a dinosaur movie.
Oh boy.
I'm talking about 92, Jurassic Park. But I mean, you think about it, and it was game changing. It was awe inspiring. It was whenever Sam Neill takes his glasses off, we're taking our glasses off with him, because we're seeing the Brontosaurus, Apatosaurus, whatever the hell it was. We're seeing it for the first time too, and we're holy shit, they did it. This is crazy. And then it just goes off the rails from there. And so I never thought that they did anything as good as that. But rewatching 2 is good. Aside from the gymnastics girl killing a velociraptor, which just wouldn't happen. You have so many cool scenes. You have the trailer scene with 2 T-Rexes. That's upping the ante, is 2 T-Rexes.
It's got great performers too. They have a great supporting cast. Is it Pete Pot? Is it how do you say his last name?
Postlethwaite,
yeah.
The guy with the mustache and bald head?
Yeah. The hunter guy.
Yeah.
He's amazing. He's a great supporting actor.
Remember, Spielberg directed this.
Exactly.
He's better at it.
That's what it is. You have the raptors in the field, and you can see their tails.
Oh, when they go in the long grass, that's an incredible sequence.
The long grass is incredible. You think about that. You think of them finally getting to the mainland. It's not crazy, but you're oh my God, he ate that dog. That kid is what's going on? And so, I mean, That's the Trevorrow script. The kid says, what's going on? I should be a writer.
Yeah.
So it upped it a little bit, but other than that, no, 3 was terrible. 4 was okay, it's cool, but I love the park theme. I hated the taming of velociraptors. They were so smart in every movie.
And they were scary. Now they're just oh, you're friends? There are friends now? They're woodland animals now. It's
Exactly, like y'all said, you hold your hand up and they're oh, we should wait and listen to these clicks really fast, because
In the first movie, the T-Rex is obviously positioned to be terrifying, but they position the Velociraptor as the most deadly thing on the island.
The Jello scene and the claw and I mean, I was
The
like, that was
freezer scene, like in the kitchen.
Well, remember when he realizes that he says, you're making raptor, or you bred raptors? Like, okay, I see all this, but I can't believe you all would actually make raptors.
When Sam Neill smells the eggs and he's like, they're reproducing. They're not supposed to reproduce. Like, one, just off the rails, like never can be. And that's why we hate everything after it a little bit more. A little bit more.
Because we're that much further away from what it was.
It's that, because they keep trying to up it. And that's why it's just like, I get the locust thing. It's just like, yes, we have dinosaurs here, but like, we're not doing a retread of every other movie until we make the T-Rex fight the dinosaur for the 80th fucking time, and we think it's dead, but it comes back to life and ends up beating the dinosaur. Well, I wish the T-Rex would die. I am fucking sick of it coming back to life and beating whatever dinosaur just kicked its ass.
I just want to reiterate, and I'm no, you're good. You were good. I was
I've been holding on to that one for a while.
No, you're good. Again, we really need to wrap it up because we're over time, but what I want to just say is, the first time the T-Rex does that at the end of Jurassic Park, the whole point of that is not, the T-Rex is the good guy. It is, the T-Rex is establishing its dominance as the lord over the land. And it's like Trevorrow watched the movie, and actually I haven't trust Trevorrow because they do it in Jurassic Park 3 also, but they're like, they watched the movie and they said, T-Rex, good guy, because he...
But Jurassic World, that is the best moment. When they're like, we don't know what to do, and then she goes and unleashes the T-Rex. That is really the coolest moment. But then they kept doing it.
Well, but no, to your point though, Jason, that is one of the better moments of the movie because it actually smartly uses the audience expectations in a way that you're like, yeah, that's right. Hadn't thought about it until you mentioned it, but now that we were all thinking this thing. Yeah, it just works in that movie. But
then they do it again, and they do it again, and they do it again.
Yeah.
But it was a cool moment the first time they did it.
Before we sign off, I want to give everyone a final word. There were so many different details we didn't get to talk about. From Ian Malcom literally just rehashing things that he did in the first movie multiple times, to the fact that Lewis Dodson apparently planted a seed for the season 5 of the animated series. That you gotta
Camp Cretaceous is awesome.
My kids really do like it.
I have heard the show. I have heard the show is really good, but also, look, it's the Barbasol can from the first movie. But you remember that, guys? Well, guess what? We're not going to pay it off in this movie, even though we're going to stop the movie twice for it. You got to watch the animated series. Yeah. Closing thoughts, though, just to sum it up. We'll go around the table. Brock, any closing thoughts on Jurassic World Dominion?
When Jeff Goldblum started to unbutton his shirt and the pilot looked at him, shook her head no, and he buttoned it back up, I audibly laughed. I guess that's all I got left.
I laughed at that too, Brock.
That was
That's good. Laron Chapman, closing thoughts.
Go see Lightyear instead.
That's a good answer.
Or Jason, Maverick. Whatever.
Or Maverick.
Or Maverick
for the fourth time. Yeah, I think that's good. Jason Black?
I'm glad it's over. It's been a ride. And I may be talking about this podcast, and I might be talking about Jurassic World. I'm just kidding.
No, it's fair. It's late. We've been going for a while, guys. I don't have anything to add other than please don't watch this movie. Don't give this movie your money.
But there's completists out there. They need to see it.
The completist is the strong. That's why I saw it.
Yeah,
but also, God, this movie's terrible. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for tuning in to our review of Jurassic World Dominion. And we're going to go around the table one more time just to talk a little bit about where you can keep up with our guests today. So, Brock Lay, where can our listeners keep up with you when you work online?
Brockness_monster on Instagram and Twitter. You can see photos of my brood and things that I work on.
It's going to be a band one day. It's going to be cool. Laron Chapman, how about you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Black Movie Magic OKC.
Awesome. Jason Black?
Follow me on Instagram and or Twitter, FlickKicks23, where I do movie reviews and wear shoes.
Your shoe game is so strong, though.
My shoe game is strong, but I'm really just trying to get free shoes out of this Instagram, and it has not worked.
soon. And of course, you can find me tweeting about films, television, video games over at C Masters Talk on Twitter. That's letter C Masters Talk. And you can keep up with all the work at the Cinematropolis over at thecinematropolis.com or on Facebook at facebook.com/Cinematropolis and on Twitter at the Cinematrop. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. And thanks to each one of you for joining me tonight. We ran this show really late. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you again on our next episode when we review the latest film from the Sinister and the first Doctor Strange, the director Scott Derrickson, his new horror movie, The Black Phone. I'm super excited about this. Until next time.